Everyone loves Gremlins, but how has this dark Christmas classic managed to endure over the years? Let's take a closer look, but before you get comfortable, make sure all the lights are on, check in all the closets and cupboards, check under the bed, because there just might be a gremlin in your house. Gremlins was released on June 8th, 1984 on the same weekend as Ghostbusters, coming at a time when combining horror and comedy was becoming very popular. The urban myth about Gremlins was first conceived during World War II when the mechanical failures in RAF aircraft were jokingly blamed on the small monsters. The term Gremlins also entered popular culture when children's author Roald Dahl published a book called The Gremlins in 1943, based on the mischievous creatures, and director Joe Dante has cited it as an influence on the movie. Steven Spielberg decided to executively produce the film, calling it one of the most creative things he had come across in many years. Spielberg selected Joe Dante as his director because he had previously directed The Howling. However, in between The Howling and the offer to film Gremlins, he had experienced a lull in his career, but he was about to be resurrected with this dark Christmas smash. The film's script went through several drafts before a shooting script was finalised. The first version was very much darker than the final film. Various scenes were cut, including one which portrayed Billy's mother dying in her struggle with the Gremlins. There was also a scene where the Gremlins ate Billy's dog, and a scene where the Gremlins attacked a McDonald's, eating customers instead of burgers. Nothing says Christmas like people being eaten alive. Why didn't they go for that? The special effects relied mainly on puppetry, after an early attempt to use monkeys was abandoned because the test monkey panicked when it was made to wear a gremlin head. After the actors finished their work, a great deal of effort was spent finishing the effects. Numerous small rubber puppets, some of which were mechanical, were used to portray Gizmo and the Gremlins. They were designed by Chris Wallace. The Gizmo puppets were particularly frustrating because they were smaller and thus broke down more. While Wallace recommended making the Mogwais larger to make their creation and functioning easier for the special effects team, Dante insisted on keeping their size small to enhance the cuteness of the characters. During production, marionettes were also used. Other effects required large Mogwai faces and ears to be produced for close-ups, as the puppets were less capable of conveying emotion. Howie Mandel provided the voice for the cute Gizmo, and prolific voice actor Frank Welker provided the voice for Stripe, the villain of the Gremlins. Gremlins was a major financial success. Produced on an $11 million budget, it was more expensive than Spielberg had originally intended, but still relatively cheap for its time. It had grossed $148,168,459 domestically. This made it the fourth highest grossing film of the year. Many critics questioned the summer release date, as the film takes place during the Christmas holiday season, causing them to comment that it should have been a Christmas release date instead. In addition to this, there are also complaints from audiences and critics about the violence depicted in the film. These complaints were particularly present in people who had brought their children to see the movie, many of whom walked out of the theatre before the film had ended. And I actually have video footage of one of the parents who took their kids to see Gremlins back in 1984. And this is what happened to their child. Have a listen.
Now, he was okay, after 6-7 weeks. And I came around and started talking again.
Roger Ebert approved the film, awarding it 3 out of 4 stars and declaring it to not only be fun, but a sly series of send-ups. Gene Siskel also gave the film 3 out of 4 stars, describing it as wickedly funny and a slightly sick ride. And it was in fact followed by a sequel, Gremlins 2 The New Batch, released in 1990. Gremlins 2. The only thing I remember about is Hulk Hogan pissing around.
Okay, you guys, listen up. People pay good money to see this movie. When they go out to a theater, they want cold sodas, hot popcorn, and no monsters in the projection booth. Do I have to come up there myself? Do you think the Grimsters can stand up to the Hulkster?
Gremlins tells the story of a young man, Billy, played by Zach Galligan, who receives a strange creature called a Mogwai as a pet from his father, which then suddenly spawns other creatures who transform into small, destructive, evil monsters. All because Billy accidentally doesn't stick to the rules, never give Mogwai contact with bright lights, keep them away from water, and never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, feed them after midnight. Billy is a very likeable protagonist. He's just a normal young guy trying to do his best in life. He's genuinely a good person and it doesn't feel forced. He doesn't have much confidence at the beginning of the movie, and we learn he is judged to be a bit too nice by his co-workers, and he hasn't really become a man yet. Gremlins is very much his coming of age story, and it's wonderful to see him gain confidence as the film goes on, as he is thrust into this crazy, life-altering adventure. Early on, his co-workers like to belittle him, and the local miser Mrs. Deagle likes to sadistically bully him and his dog. I'm being dead serious, this woman is a bloody maniac. She plays one of the nastiest 80s movie characters. Don't believe me? Listen to her, she's unbelievable.
Give him to me. I'll take him to the kennel. They'll put him to sleep. It'll be quick and painless compared to what I could do to him.
What could you do?
I'll catch the beast myself. Then you'll get what he deserves. A slow, painful death.
What a bitch. Billy gains his confidence and independence not through success and the selfish means of the other people in his life, but through plucking up the courage to ask his friend Kate, played by Phoebe Cates, out on a date, which she accepts, and then of course battling the crazy evil gremlins in a fight to death. Billy has an unforgettable Christmas adventure which establishes him as a brave underdog, who is far more worthwhile rooting for than the superficial people around him who would all run a mile when confronted with these little monsters. I love the fact that Billy doesn't change drastically over the story, he just ends the film a lot more wiser and stronger. He is self-assured and happier. He is still the good person he starts off as, just a bit more mature. His relationship with Phoebe Cates is very cute, and Cates is great here. Such a shame she didn't go on to become a bigger actress, because back here it really did seem like she would. Her performance in the scene where she recounts why she hasn't enjoyed Christmas in years is really good, and leaves you a little bit overwhelmed.
I was 9 years old. Me and Mom were decorating the tree, waiting for Dad to come home from work. A couple hours went by. Dad wasn't home. Mom called the office. No answer. Christmas Day came and went, and still nothing. So the police began a search. 4 or 5 days went by. Neither one of us could eat or sleep. Everything was falling apart. It was snowing outside. The house was freezing, so I went to try to light up the fire, and that's when I noticed the smell. The firemen came and broke through the chimney top, and me and Mom were expecting them to pull out a dead cat or a bird, and instead they pulled out my father. He was dressed in a Santa Claus suit. He'd been climbing down the chimney on Christmas Eve, his arms loaded with presents. He was going to surprise us. He slipped and broke his neck, died instantly. And that's how I found out there was no Santa Claus.
Hit the Christmas music! The Santa speech proved to be very controversial, and studio executives insisted upon its removal because they felt it was too ambiguous as to whether it was supposed to be funny or sad. Joe Dante stubbornly refused to take the scene out, saying it represented this movie as a whole, which had a combination of horrific and comedic elements. Hoyt Axton as Billy's dad is great fun, and while his character isn't very successful and spends his life making inventions that never seem to work, he has that kind of Doc Brown charm and charisma. You like him because while he hasn't yet made anything that works, he is trying, and he is working on something he believes in, and you have to admire his enthusiasm. Just like Billy, you want to see his dad succeed. It certainly seems that his dad has passed down his underdog status to his son, but that's okay because while they struggle, they know what is most important in life and they stay humble, always looking forward with a smile on their faces. It's great to see Corey Feldman pop up in a very small but fun role. He was perfect as that funny little kid in so many 80s movies, and he has amazing comedic timing and great line delivery and charisma for his age back here. Feldman's character Pete is at first very fascinated with Gizmo, but I love the fact that in seconds he is bored of it. Again, it goes along with the whole consumerism and that we just buy things for the sake of it these days. He's a little kid and he is already bored of this new species that no one's seen before. He's bored in seconds, it's hilarious. Gizmo is of course possibly the cutest character in movie history. I think that's a solid claim to make. Look at him, he's so cute. What an amazing idea he was, and I love the fact that he remains this little bundle of joy for the whole movie. Could have been so easy for them to make Gizmo turn evil too, but he remains this wonderful companion, and his relationship with Billy is very cute to watch. One thing I love about when Billy's dad first sees Gizmo in that underground dodgy shop, he doesn't ask like, "What the fuck is this? It's a new animal species, man." Fuck's it called? No, he just says, my son would like that. I'll have that, mate. Son would bloody love that. What, that random animal that hasn't been scientifically tested and no one knows anything about? Yeah, I know for a fact my son would bloody love that. Give it to me, I'd fucking own it. They do bring up a theme in the movie of us consumers being so quick to purchase things, whether it be pets or products, without actually realising the responsibility that comes along with them. So maybe by making everyone react so casually to Gizmo, the movie was trying to make a point that we need to start actually being fascinated by things and work to maintain them and protect them instead of just gimme it now. Gizmo is so cute and his design is so perfect, the special effects are amazing, and it just makes me cringe because I know the day is coming where we're going to see a version of this movie with CGI. I know it's coming. Now let's talk about Gizmo's deranged brothers, the little shits known as the Gremlins. Again, the design of these characters is astonishing. The meticulous detail of the Gremlins ensures they still stand up today. They look genuinely real and their design is unforgettable and, dare I say, very frightening. I know Gremlins is a comedy, but there are moments when I dare say the Gremlins are pretty darn creepy and the things they do are hardcore. This movie has a lot of horror elements because these Gremlins actually go around stalking and killing people. They almost become slasher villains at times. But they combine the creepiness with this wild sense of abandon and joy and mirth for anything they do. Weird because they're literally going around killing people and you feel bad for laughing, but the Gremlins do it with such joy and happiness that you can't help but crack a smile. I can see what Gene Siskel meant when he said this is a bit of a sick ride. And of course it's not just me, but so many people. I saw this in a theatre recently and everyone was laughing their arse off when the Gremlins send that horrible lady, Mrs. Deagle, who was bullying Billy, to her death, hurtling out the top of one of her top windows.
I'm glad you did.
I didn't say it, Jack Nicholson said it. I think the scene where the Gremlins attack Billy's mother, Lynn, played by Frances Lee McCain, is probably one of the creepiest ones in the film. They actually build it up like a proper horror scene, and you were just rooting for this lady, and she actually is really brave against the Gremlins. Like, I've been running for the bloody hills, but she actually stands up to them. I love the culmination of this film where our young heroes are desperately trying to defeat the Gremlins. It has that familiar theme that a lot of family and young adult films have. The adults disappear and it's up to the youngsters to find that inner courage to come out on top, while having an unforgettable adventure that the adults don't know about. The Gremlins end up at the bar, in the cinema, in a department store. They are literally all over the bloody town, and the kids have to find a way to somehow stop them, with a little help from Gizmo of course. Gizmo gets in his own little car and shows his good heart as he does what he can to save Billy, once again showing the contrast between the rest of the Gremlins and himself. Look at him, he's so cute. I think Gremlins is a great Christmas movie with edge. It's one of the most memorable of all time and it stands out among them because it's unique and daring. But for me it still pulls at your heartstrings. It still has those Christmas sentimental themes to it. It has love, it has friendship, it has coming of age, it has the colours of Christmas all around. It has family love. I don't think it's purely just a messed up sadistic Christmas horror movie. I feel like it's all done lightheartedly, but when it has to, it does try and thrill you as well. So it's a movie that really does meet both worlds very well. I really love Gremlins and I hope everyone relives this Christmas classic this year. I really think it has stood the test of time because there is no other Christmas movie like it. It's still a kids movie, but it's still an adult horror movie at the same time. All these conflicting tones somehow work extremely well. And Gizmo's so cute, look at him, he's so cute. Merry Christmas everyone and thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of Gremlins in the comments box below and let's discuss this dark Christmas caper which I feel has endured because it stands out. It has an edge to it, it's unique. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Let me also know what Christmas movies you've been watching and let's discuss that too. Happy holidays everyone. I do plan on actually doing a couple more Christmas themed, holiday themed videos before the end of the month. So stay tuned for that and thanks for watching everyone and I will see you guys next time.